Thanks to all of you that submitted questions for this hashtag TNA 2013 Q&A. I got plenty of questions and plenty of good ones. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and fire through this as quickly as I can. The subject for the next Q&A will be announced at another time in the next couple of days. So just bear with me, and I'll let you know when to send your questions in and what you're going to be sending your questions in about on the next Q&A. Let's get started. At KJ Bacane, who was the worst storyline of the year in your opinion? In TNA, you should already know this is the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth worst storyline. It's everything all rolled up into one, and that's aces and eights. At Mr. Nice Hangover 1 asks, do you think TNA has been a better company when Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff left? And do you think TNA had a better year than WWE? No, I don't think they had a better year than WWE in any measurement. But as far as does it seem like they're a little bit better off since Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan have left? Absolutely, no question about it. At OTRS, motherfucker, what was your TNA moment of the year? Very simple. I got my early Christmas gift when it was announced that Jeff Jarrett was leaving the fucking company, period. At Blue Goblin 01, what would you consider the absolute best moment of TNA in 2013? Again, see my answer to the last question, period. And who do you think benefited the most, and who do you think suffered the most in the company this year? Magnus obviously benefited the most. He's the world champion. Guys that suffered the most? Guys that suffered the most. Anybody involved with aces and eights, and anybody as fans that had to watch that shit. At the Real Big Man 93, besides aces and eights, what's the worst angle in TNA this year? You know, aces and eights was so bad and so consuming that even if there were other bad storylines, and there were, this by far was the worst. It was so bad that it wasn't just the worst. It was, again, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth worst. At Gail Tyler LP, what do you think of Magnus being a heel going into the UK tour? Will the crowd boom or will he get cheered? Oh, I'm sure he'll get cheered, and that's fine. You know, I think, frankly, he works a little better as a heel than he does as a babyface, maybe, even though I think you can make him a big star as a babyface, too. But the fact of the matter remains is finally Magnus is the world champion, and that's what needed to happen above all else. At BW Roses asked, what are your thoughts on Derek Bateman coming in as EC3? Originally, I thought it was going to be really dumb and really stupid, and I've actually kind of liked it. And did you see the Dixie heel turn coming? Not really. I mean, when she sat there and kind of turned on AJ Styles, they never really teased it. They just went there. So it's kind of hard to really predict it coming. And he also asked, what are your thoughts on TNA going back to Universal in 2014 and going into high school gyms and such? Well, they still need to do live events, so they got to go where they can go, and they got to get in front of the people. If you can't get in front of the people, there's no way you're ever going to have a chance of growing your business and growing your product. As far as going back to Universal, it is what it is. Do I like it? No. Would I prefer that they were still going out on the road? Yes, but it's the reality of the situation for the time being. At Y2 Jackass asked, what was TNA's worst moments? Aces and eights? Sabin winning the belt as a plot device? Or Dixie practically humping Hogan's leg? Again, as bad as those last two were, easily everything and anything involving aces and eights. At the awesome, at 518795 asks, what faction would you make in TNA using any superstars in TNA's past or present, and what roles would each play? I'm going to be real honest with you. I could technically answer this question your way, but I'm going to answer it the Slug Daddy way instead, and that is we've had enough factions in TNA. I do not even want to entertain historical factions at that point in time. Enough is enough with the factions in fucking TNA. So as a result, I choose to refrain from answering that question the way you want to, because they don't need any more factions. Not even theoretical, hypothetical, historical ones. At Yori Ambassador, does Gunner have the potential to become a future main eventer in TNA if they have him go over Storm in their feud? Yes, I think so. And they need to go there and see what they've got. Let's see here. At week 10 WKHN, how long of a run will Magnus get at the top of TNA, or is this just to boost ticket sales for the upcoming UK tour? I'm sure that doesn't hurt. I'm sure that was one thought process in their reasoning. But I would assume he would probably last at least until lockdown, but we'll see. He needs to have a nice, decent length run. At Willie_Haywood3. What is the worst storyline, Aces and Eights or Dixie turning heel? Aces and Eights, and it's not even close. At King Abraham 250. Where do you see Samoa Joe going now after he didn't win the X title and he didn't win any of the Feast or Fired cases? Based off of the history between the two, both as friends and foes, he should have a program with Magnus in the main event, but unfortunately TNA has done so much to diminish the Samoa Joe name and brand in TNA that most people probably scoff and fart at that. Where do I see him going? Same place he's been the past several years in TNA. Absolutely nowhere. At Carlston Tatum. Are you a fan of EC3, and do you think the TV title should be a mid-card title for up-and-coming guys? I like what they're doing with EC3. I actually do. I'm enjoying it so far. We'll see where they go with it from there. But yes, the TV title should be their mid-card belt that they actually use to help TNA actually have a better structure in their card. Because here's the problem with TNA. There's not really like a hierarchy of things in the way it goes. There used to be in WWE, and it doesn't even really seem to play out like that anymore. But you would progress people up the card. You have a mid-card title. And TNA really doesn't have a mid-card, and they really don't have a mid-card title. It would be nice if they actually utilized the TV title for that. At CanYouLick21, who was the worst TNA champion in 2013? Bully Ray, both times. At Piznick64, what WWE wrestler in 2014 do you think will join TNA and become a star since they are a former WWE guy? I love this question. Because in theory, that would be the type of guy that they would push to the moon. It'd be like if JTG gets future endeavor, they'll bring him right in and they'll put him over Magnus clean. I don't know which WWE guy would be. I'm assuming there's going to be one, but we'll just have to see. At the Den Sidron, do you think now with Hitchoff out of the picture, TNA is slowly getting back to where it once was? I don't know if they're getting slowly back to where they once were, but maybe they're slowly starting to get back to doing things the right way for their company. At the Iron Man 316, does it bother you that TNA brought back that goat-faced Madison out of all the knockouts that they could have brought back? Fuck yes. Need it. Fresh faces. New faces. Not old faces where we've been there and done that. At Air 458 and at BAV Cena 66 asked similar questions. Would Jeff Jarrett's resignation from TNA be considered the overall highlight of 2013? And if not, what is? And BWE asks, what was your reaction to Jeff fucking Jarrett parting ways with TNA? Well, first of all, to me personally, it has got to be the highlight of 2013. And my reaction is good fucking riddance. And I don't understand why so many people are so upset and so up in arms and sitting there thinking, oh, Jeff Jarrett's gone. Oh, my God, the founder's gone. Now TNA's really in trouble, like they weren't already really in trouble before. And mind you, Jeff Jarrett's been a very instrumental player behind the scenes in that company for years. So we could blame Hogan and we could blame Bischoff. But who else has been there along with people like Dixie Carter, Jeff fucking Jarrett? Do you ever think Jeff Jarrett could have been part of the problem? Not even just as an on-screen personality, which we know he was a big problem there. Come on, man. Get with the program. Yeah, I'm fucking happy Jeff Jarrett's gone. He needed to go. Enough was enough. And we close out the Q&A with at Rarebreed RKO 97. So what makes you happier? Aces and Eights dying or Jeff Jarrett leaving TNA? Now, don't get me wrong. Aces and Eights dying needed to happen. It was long overdue. It finally happened. I'm incredibly ecstatic about that. And it's amazing, isn't it? Once that faction has died off, the product has become a little more palpable for me and for others. Imagine that. Wonder who could have seen that coming. Moi. But Jeff Jarrett leaving TNA has to be the highlight of the year. That has to be the thing that makes me happier. And it's not even close. The Aces and Eights dying, I had that feeling of, oh, finally, it's fucking over. When Jeff Jarrett was announced that he was leaving TNA right before Christmas, it felt like Christmas came early for the Schleg Daddy, and I had a grin on my face from ear to fucking ear. So beyond question, that makes me happier. Thanks again to all of you that sent in your questions for this TNA 2013 Q&A. Like I said, I will, in the next few days, announce the topic for the next Q&A, so stay tuned. But thanks to all of you that participated in this Q&A, and thanks to Jeff fucking Jarrett for making me a very happy man by finally stepping aside and getting the hell out of the way in TNA.